My name is June Rochelle, and thank you for tuning in to Joy in Our Town. We have a very special guest today, as we always do. We have Elia James. She's the Communications Manager at the Division of Homeland Security in Indianapolis. Elia, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm excited to be here. We have a lot of information to go over. Thank you so much for being a guest. And let's start right off with some information for our viewers. Tell us about this office and what it means to the community.
Sure. Well, we are standing in the Regional Operations Center in the city of Indianapolis. And this center, when there are disasters in our city, this is where all of the planning comes together, all of the coordination between fire, police, Homeland Security, all the different agencies that we work with. This is where we all come together and start working towards making this a nice recovery.
Now, I would like to know about tornadoes and other disasters as well, but mainly tornadoes because we are in Indiana and we are in the middle of the map and we do experience tornadoes here. What is one of the first things that someone should do when they hear the siren for a tornado?
Sure. Well, we do have a system to notify people if there is a hazard outside. So we use the outdoor warning sirens, and those outdoor warning sirens are telling people in the outdoors to go ahead and seek shelter. It's time for them to seek shelter, and also for them to seek more information about what's going on. Because sometimes, here in Indianapolis, it may be a tornado, maybe a very bad storm, coupled with straight line winds. So we have a lot of different things that could happen, but we call those sirens all hazard sirens, all hazards, meaning, if there's any time that you actually hear that, it's because the city of Indianapolis, we're trying to communicate with folks and tell them, hey, seek more information because there's something going on, and we'd like to share that information with you. So at that point, when you hear it, go ahead, go indoors, seek shelter, and turn into your favorite news station or your radio station. We also ask folks to turn on their weather radio at that time and find out what's going on.
That's good information. Now, for those that are like me that want to be prepared, what types of items should a person have in their home to prepare for a tornado or any other kind of disaster? Maybe it's a flood or something like that, but what should they have in their home to prepare?
Sure. Well, part of being a resilient community and, coming through a disaster, a little bit better prepared is to go ahead and make a family plan. So we start out by asking folks to put a plan together for their family. What would you do in case, most of the time we tend to be at school, kids are at school, parents are at work. So our families are separated for a big chunk of the day. On the weekend, we might be at church. We're not in our home. So if we get split up, what can we do as a family to go ahead and reunify? So one of the things that we ask people to do is make sure they have an emergency out-of-state contact. What we tend to see as emergency managers is when people try to connect with each other in a disaster area, it tends to bog the system down. So, it overwhelms all of those, phone antennas and all of that stuff. So we ask them to make sure to contact someone, outside of the state, check in with them, let them know what your location is, and then, to check back with your loved one on the other side and kind of, do that reunification. So planning is a huge part of this. And so we ask them to do that, and then we also ask them, they might be, they may have to find shelter in different ways. And what we mean by that is, they might have to find, or they may have to evacuate and go to mass sheltering. So if they have to do that, we want to make sure that they're definitely prepared with those items that they really that are going to be necessities to them. So, for people that are taking medications, go ahead and put that together into what we call a go kit. So you can just grab it and go and have your medications with you. Things like things like water, things like your identifications as well, because if a tornado were to come through here, there would be a lot of paperwork that you would have to go through, and just to make that just a little bit easier for folks, make sure they have copies of all of their identifications, um, and place them somewhere where, like in a waterproof kind of a container, so that they don't get damaged as well. So make sure that's in your go kit. There are a lot of other things that you can add to your kit, but those are some of the primary ones. We want to make sure people are ready, have ready to go.
That's awesome. And I really like the having a point of contact out of state, because that way each individual, each family person can call that relative or that friend, and they can let each of the other relatives or friends know that everybody's okay. That is really, I hadn't heard of that one before, and that's really good. Now, the next subject I'd like for you to talk about is the CERT. So the only cert I've ever known is the kind you used to take as a mint. But I see that there's a program called CERT. Can you tell me what that's about so our viewers can know as well?
Absolutely. Here in the city of Indianapolis, we have a very robust CERT program. And what the CERT program stands for, it's an acronym, so CERT, and it stands for Community Emergency Response Team. So it's a 21-hour training that is a certification provided by FEMA. So we have instructors that are prepared to deliver this information. And what the training goes through is how to make sure that you are able to take care of yourself, but also how to help your neighbors. This is a program very much about neighbors helping neighbors in a time of disaster. So, we go through search and rescue, how to make sure that you extricate a victim properly, how to conduct damage assessments of the homes, because during a disaster, those homes may not be safe to go inside and help someone, get out of there. So we have certain procedures that we have to follow with that. So we want to make sure people are rescuing each other and in a safe manner at the same time. So we go through that, and we go through disaster medical operations. There are some basic skills that they learn that can very quickly save someone's life if they're able to get to them quickly and help them. So those are some of the things that we do in the CERT program. But we also have a lot of leadership positions. We have a leadership team that focuses on the different areas when we're talking about organizing. So they work in hand actually with first responders, and they're kind of our to us, we call them our force multiplier, because they actually are able to help us, and they train sometimes one-on-one with emergency managers to either, sometimes they're here in the Emergency Operations Center, and they're trained on logistics, they're trained on planning, they're trained on operations, and all different kinds of areas that would be helpful to us, including public information. So
Now that is awesome, because when you think about it, the majority of the time we only hear about like community watch. You watch out for crime and different things like that, which is very good. But this is a program that teaches the community to watch out for one another in a disaster or in an emergency, because there could be times when the ambulance or the fire trucks are unable to get to them because the pathways are restricted or anything like that in an emergency. So that is wonderful. And if they can call the Homeland Security to get more information?
absolutely, they can either give us a phone call, or they can also go online. We also have a Twitter and a Facebook page at IndyCert, or Indianapolis Cert, and they can reach us at www.indy.gov and then /DHS. Or they can call us here at the office. The area code here is 317, and the number is 327 3900.
Well, everybody, I love to get good information to you that's going to enhance the quality of your life. And right here at the Division of Homeland Security in Indianapolis, my special guest, Aaliyah James, I hope so much that you got the information that you needed to help you today. This is June Rochelle. Thank you for tuning in to Joy in Our Town.